Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS, who rules well, peace, and salutations to the elect. My name is Ainal. The title of the video is Rothschild Affiliated. The Economist magazine publishes 2026 predictions. So this was posted back in 2025 around November about predictions of what was to come. Right. And I got it directly from this video here. He spoke on it. All right. I'm gonna play his video, but this is where I found out about this information, and I'm gonna just go into it ultimately, right? Let me just grab this real quick. And this is important. The Rothschilds. I'm just play his video real quick. It's like 1 minute or a couple of seconds. I'll play at the end here. He goes into the fact that the World Cup is already experiencing problems. Right, Mexico Stadium is the people are there because they're trying to make their voice be heard or whatever about some incident where people going missing. All right, so you can check that out. But this is the part I want right here.
You have to remember the Rothschilds put out the Year Ahead magazine for 2026, and it had a guy kicking a soccer ball on the front cover. And on that soccer ball was pure madness. That was the first hint that one of these events was going to get targeted. So head on a swivel. If you're going to any of these World Cup events, I expect to see something in the United States at one of them for sure. Joel.
All right, and I'll be surprised if nothing crazy happens at one of these events. This is the perfect recipe for chaos, right? We'll just have to wait and see. But as he said, the Rothschilds hosted or Rothschild affiliated magazine, publishes 2026 predictions. And we're going to read it. And this is the image here. All right, which I can't zoom in, but there's a still. And we'll probably go look at the comments down there. But as you can see in there is a lot of different things. You can take your pick. You got here, right here, the brain, which if you look at this on your phone or your tablet or something, you can zoom in more and you'll see like an antenna right there. Right, and then it has a remote control, right? And I just took that as that was one of the main things I seen. Look at this container ship right here. It has missiles coming out of it. China has that type of container ship that has missiles coming from it. Got the Persians over here, I believe. Right, you got, I believe this is a UK, Putin, and X, right? And then you got Donald Trump right here. This is Modi, Indian. I believe this is probably I thought maybe it was the Italy lady. This could be like Cuba, Venezuela. Who knows right here? But it's a lot on this thing right here. Of course, you got the war, right? But look, it's the guy kicking a soccer ball, and all of it is right there. You got the crash, right? You got some melted ice. You got a lot of different things happening: missiles, drones, attack dogs over here, the robot attack dogs, tanks, towers, signals. What is this 2020 type instrument right here? So there's a lot here. So anyway, this is and this is important because Job 9:24 says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof, is not wherein who is he? Right? The Rothschilds, right, operate and run the world because they own the banking system. They own the money of the world. They control it. All right, so this is very important when they give out like predictions, right? And they allow certain things to get put to the forefront, and it is allowed to be seen. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Says, at least Satan should get an advantage of us, but we are not ignorant of his devices. Satan means adversary, right? And these devils are adversary to Yahweh Bashim Shah because they want to try to establish their own, forever kingdom, right? As Daniel, the second and the seventh chapter goes into about the divine kingdom that's going to last forever. They don't want that kingdom to take place because that's the kingdom of the Israelites. They want to set up their own kingdom. So they're trying to micro hip everybody and take control of everyone. All right. And they throw these symbols and things out there, to say, hey, look, we told you what was happening, because that's just how they operate, on the left hand side. Right? Because what other reason would they have to show you all these different things? Everything they do is always, we find out it's in the movies or documentaries have been made about it before it even happened, and things like that. Right? That's just as watchmen, starting with that elder apostles, they have watched and seen that that's how they operate. These things happen that way. All right. So I'm gonna read this. It says Rothschild affiliated, the Economist magazine publishes 2026 predictions that forecast more war and bond market collapse. As Tesla AI chief says, 2026 will be the hardest year of your life. And even that lady, the Italy lady, I forgot her name actually, but she was saying basically in 2025, she said, I know 25 has been complicated, but 2026 is going to be worse. That's what she said, So now this is somebody else commenting on that article that the Economist wrote, right? It says the Economist infamously subtly foretells future events with its art covers. And the latest one is no different. War, lots of it. A bond crisis, a fractured US, AI purge and bread and circuses. And that's all happening now, right? And it's all there. Like I say, you can check the image out. I'm gonna just read this. He throws in some precepts, and I'll just read those precepts, right? You can just listen. On November 13th, the British-based Economist magazine, who some of its stakeholders and previous owners include the controversial Rothschild family, published its annual The World Ahead for 2026, providing some general forecasts for the year ahead. The Economist, which has been around for 180 years, has garnered a reputation for publishing cover art that often subtly hints at and seems to predict future events that are in the pipeline, and the latest cover appears to be no different. Which I have to go look at some of the it's better be right here. Some of the previous articles and see what it says. But look, you got like AI drones, you got the CVID type events, you got the stock market crash, you got war, and look at who's on each side here, which is interesting. Now I don't know where the small headers are at. Maybe this is actually the small header guy right here, but I would think that's like UK, right? And that's Putin, and that's like X. These are Persians over here. This could be like Cuba, like I said, maybe, or even Iran. You got Modi, of course, Donald Trump, of course, even his hat to my "Make America Great," like, and then a random chick right here. You got the boxing match. Trump has a boxing match on the front lawn. You got all type of things happening. They go a box. There's a lot of ticks in the boxes on forums. Stock market crash, like I said, MOTB here, ships, Elon Musk rocket ships, right? War in space, drones, right? Shoot. All right. Just a lot here. It says the Economist wrote in a brief blurb describing their latest article. Every November, we publish our annual predictive guide to the coming year, the world ahead. In this year's edition, our correspondents and invited experts consider the uncertain global outlook in geopolitics, economics, technology, and culture, analyze how Donald Trump's reshaping of global norms means problems for Europe and opportunities for China, and look forward to space missions, video games, and improved weight loss drugs. That epidemic or whatever, they're gonna tell me, but I seen that in the news too recently. Crazy. Says more specifically, Tom Standage, editor for the World Ahead series, highlighted 10 things he and the other contributors predict for next year, while providing a broad intro to the magazine's prediction in a press release published several days before the latest edition is published. Now, mind you, this was in 2025, so everything that's predicted is supposed to be happening now. The Economist launches the World Ahead 2026 with rich countries living beyond their means. The risk of a bond market crisis is growing. 2026 will be a year of uncertainty as Donald Trump's reshaping of long-standing norms and geopolitics, politics, diplomacy, and trade continues to cause worldwide repercussions and keeps the president in a global spotlight. But it also promises to be a year that tells us about where the world is heading. Will the trade war cause an economic slowdown? Will AI produce a boom, a bust, or a backlash? Will Mr. Trump's unconventional approach to diplomacy bring lasting change to the Middle East? Will the bond markets call time on rich countries that are living beyond their means? The answers to these questions will determine how global affairs unfold over the next few years. Right? You don't have a next few years. All right. The road ahead 2026 provides our analysts of these and other trends and the challenges and opportunities they present to countries, companies, and citizens in the coming year. This is Donald Trump's world, and we're all just living in it. The disruptor in chief was the biggest factor shaping global affairs in 2025. And pause real quick. Look at what's happening around the world. You know, you have basically the power in certain areas out, the ability to get food out, right? The ability to get gas out, you know, all these different things. So, like I say sometimes, if we make it to 2027, it'll be in the dark. Because they plan to bring about the chaos to bring about a solution, you know, but it ends when they bring that solution. So it ends soon, all right? And he says, and that will be the case for as long as he remains in the White House. His norm-shattering approach has caused turmoil in some areas, as in trade, but has also delivered diplomatic results, as in Gaza, which is a lie, and forced necessary change, as with European defense spending. As the Trump NATO spins on in 2026, here are 10 trends and themes to watch in the coming year. It says America's 250th, you know, you can pause and read the rest. It says geopolitical drift, war or peace, right? And for that one, you get Second Thessalonians. Like I said, this individual has scriptures here. It's First Thessalonians 5, slot here. First Thessalonians 5 and 3 says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as travail upon a one-year child, and they shall not escape." Now, what you need to understand is that there's no peace, right? And there's no safety. There's no ceasefire or anything like that. Everything that Donald Trump is saying is manipulating the markets, and they're making money off of it. But it's still going down, right? And if you go look at anything Israel talking about, they saying, "You cease, we fire." Israel's not stopping, right? And that goes into Jeremiah 15 and 45, where it says the least of the flock is going to drag America out to the war and make their habitation desolate with them, right? So the scriptures are faithful and they are true. This thing is ongoing, but from the outside looking in, as in, you know, you're not knowing what's going on because you don't have the wisdom and understanding. You think you're like, is it war? Is it peace? You don't know what's going on, right? It says problems for Europe. You know, that goes into what you can pause it. It goes into basically these hitting the whore, right, and burning her with fire, meaning the Europeans are hitting Babylon, right, and they're going to switch teams, right, and that's why when I got that part over there, I showed UK on the side of Russia and China, because right now things are not so good with America and the Europeans. Revelation 17 and 16 says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." The 10 horns represent the NATO and the EU, and they're going to burn her with fire. And if you get Ezekiel chapter 38, Russia's going to lead, along with many people with Russia, against America to go against America and burn her with fire, which is nuclear missiles. China's opportunity, which they got stuff popping over there. See, the inward part pursuant of Psalms 41:11 is that they shall continue forever. So it may look like someone has an opportunity to do something and step up and take the crown from America. But the only person that's taking the crown is Yahweh Shah. All right. That's the scripture say. Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. All right, and let me see if I can search that up real quick. I gotta say, Jesus Christ takes the crowns of all the kings. KJV. All right, so let me go to Revelations 20:4. Let me see. All right, let me type this up over here though. All right, 19 is good. All right. Says the coming of Yahushua. Says, and I saw Revelation 19:11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness doth he judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were many, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, right? So that represents him coming to take authority, right, and rule over these kingdoms. And a name written that no man knew goes into his rank, his position, right? He is Lord of Lords and King of Kings, right? So I just want to bring it up real quick. Now going back to 17, Europe is going to have a problem because they're going to burn America with fire and they're going to be divided ultimately. All right. Yeah. So China got opportunity, economic worries, right? That goes into a time like never before. Jacob's trouble, you know, because they have to collapse the system to bring about their new system. All right. Going to new world order, concerns over AI, you know, them seeking to their idols. Goes into what is it? Isaiah 19, right? The cool Lord ruling and the counsel being taken away from them and them seeking their idols. I didn't read Psalms 49:11. It's like it. Going back to China. So I was saying that, you know, with America falling, China might think they have an opportunity because of this scripture right here. Psalms 49:11, it says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, right? Ultimately, you know, the divine kingdom is going to be set up after America falls. All right, so China is the next. You know, Isaiah 19, and like I said, if you got scriptures I want to get to too. Isaiah 19:3 says, "And the spirit of Egypt, which is America, shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols." So that goes into AI. Them asking AI all the questions. You know, they're using AI in their military now, like which targets they hit, right? And to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. So this is what America is leaning on, their idols. All right. It says a mixed climate picture, you know, which, you know, I'm not really going to get into that because they don't even care. The data centers is causing those problems right now. And no one, where's all that climate, global warming bullshit they were talking about? They don't care, you know. Sporting, you know, values. So you got all the different NBA, you know, boxing and everything else going on. Ozemic, you know, it's a weight loss drug, but it is causing like people to look like, I don't know, like skeletons and things like that, which I was looking at. So the author is, I believe this guy that's writing this article here that I'm reading right now. About the other article, it says the Economist needed to tell us what we already know is coming, for it is written. Luke 21:9, it says, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass. Now, this might be in the NLT. Let me see, Luke 21:29. What is it? Slacky. What I was looking at? Luke 21:9. Slacky. Okay, so this is what the scriptures say. All right, I'm gonna just get it right here. Luke, and you go to 11. I don't know what version of Bible you're using, but I'm gonna use the NLT. They pretty much say the same thing. Luke 21 and 9. It says, and when you hear of wars and insurrections, don't panic. Yes, these things must take place first, but the end won't follow immediately. Then he added, nation will go to war against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, and there will be famines and plagues in many lands, and there will be terrifying things and great miraculous signs from heaven. There you go. Right. So that's what we're entering into right now. The end is not yet, because people have to suffer. Right. You have to go through the pestilence, the plagues, the famines, the earthquakes, the terrifying things in the lands, and also the miraculous signs from heaven. Right. Brothers being split your power. All of that is about to happen real soon. All right. 2 Timothy 3:1. It says, you should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. All right, and I'm gonna get it from here. All right. So 2 Timothy 3:1, there's know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. All right, it says we already know things will continue to cascade and careen into the side of the ravine, where we've long since passed the point of no return since 2020. Oh, and hey, that's where America's at right now. If America gives up right now, the war they got going on, who knows? Somebody might try to come over and take he said the Western hemisphere belongs to them. They might try to come take it, right? Because you'd be weak. We've long since passed the point of no return since 2020. All that we are seeing and experiencing is a formality. So, okay, move this. It says, having said that, having read through each of the 10 blurbs that the Economist provided, there are some key takeaways. Keep in mind that the Economist is primarily based in London and has a delusional, progressive, and neoliberal Western mindset, such as the authors continue to propagate that Ukraine stands resilient against evil Putin and Russia is collapsing, which is not true. And all of that tripe. And while it is true that the Russian economy is slowing down, Russia has lost hundreds of thousands of lives, and Putin and crew are just as big as part of this great reset as everyone. Ukraine has mass graves everywhere. There's desertion, and are seen kidnapping elders and disabled men off the streets to be thrust on the front lines. Ukraine is not winning anything. So keep this in mind when analyzing the Economist, which is true. War is war, but Russia is winning the war. That being said, as the authors point out, and as the cover art clearly shows, we can expect war, and a lot more war, both foreign and domestic, and more economic trade wars and trade collapses. This is a hard lock. Take it to the bank, bet the farm on it. This is true. It says the authors say that the war in Ukraine will continue to drag on, and Europe is facing the structured direct conflict with Russia. Indeed, I too agree that war will continue on until it does not. It makes zero sense what is happening over there. The mainstream media we know is lying, and the alternative media experts, Scott Riddler, Douglas McGregor, Redacted, Larry Johnson, Jeffrey Sachs, Andrew Napoleon, Tano, etc., have repeatedly said Ukraine will collapse in a week. Russia's strong narrative for now approaching 4 years, especially the first three on my list. So the whole thing is a con job. Well, Russia said they're being built up or whatever the case may be. Let's go down a little bit. Oh, okay. So I guess BB is on there then. It says, looking at the cover, we see Trump smack in the center, of course, along with China's ex, Russia's Vladimir Putin, Israel's not a Jew, and India, Modi, Ukraine's Zelensky, and then Georgia, Melania, maybe. They will play big roles next year as expected. This year. He's talking about this year. All right. Let me see what he got going on. It was some more precepts down here. Yeah, they shall not drink wine with mirth, as the scriptures say. It says, and lastly, we have the 250th of the United States, but who is celebrating? We all know it. We all feel it. American empire is over. The Economist said it up front. It says, I'm going to quote this. All right, so we're going to get some precepts real soon. All right. It says, Donald Trump may not be the most literary of men, but he hit upon the perfect metaphor when he proclaimed that he would mark America's 250th birthday by hosting a brawl on the White House lawn. The coming year will feature plenty of parades, fireworks, and commemorative coins. Yet the Octagon cage should be erected on the South Lawn ahead of July 4th, and the Ultimate Fighting Championship bruisers who will grapple within it will best represent the state of American society, at least as channeled through its politics in the second year of Mr. Trump's second term. All right. That coupled with all the major sporting events next year that are being hosted in the U.S. next year, this year, right? Get ready for endless bread and circuses to cover up for all the economic collapse, wars, and corruption in front. It's true. Distractions from the bullshit that's happening. This banqueting, this revelry, this gambling, these bread and circuses are all symbolic and indications that the empire is over. Why do you think Trump is dining with all of these elites right out in the open as they fund his new ballroom while hosting a cage fight on the front lawn of the White House? It's over. It's over like every other empire before us. The proverbial writing on the wall is here. Right. Daniel 5 and 26 says this is the interpretation of thing, many, right? Many. It should be many, many tickle. Daniel 5 and 26. Let me grab it. Right, you have been found, wanting, weighing the balance and wanting. This is Daniel 5 and 24. So Yahweh, Bashmi has sent this hand to write this message. This is the message that was written, many tickle and partial. This is what these words mean. Many means member. Yahweh has membered the days of your reign and has brought it to an end. Tickle means weighed. You have been weighed on the balances and have not measured up. Partial means divided. Your kingdom has been divided and given to the Medes and the Persian. But really, it's just divided, and it's going to be given to Yahweh Bashim Shai because we're at the end of this thing, right? What comes to mind is Job. I believe it's either Job 4 or Job 14. Let me see. Set the balance that they cannot pass. Job 14. Job 14 and 4 says, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Right. That's why Nahum 3 goes into what it goes into at the last verse, I believe it's 19. It says, Nahum 3:19, there is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the root of thee shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually. All right, so it's over for America, and everyone knows it. Ezekiel 16 and 47, it says, yet hast thou not walked after their ways, nor done after their abominations, but as if that were a very little thing, thou was corrupted more than they in all thy ways. As I live, said the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, Sodom, thy sister, have not done, she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fullness, bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters, neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy, and they were haughty and committed abominations before me. Therefore, I took them away as I saw fit. And what we'll get is let me see Isaiah 13 and 14. Isaiah 13 and 19 says, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees excelly shall be as when Yahweh Bashmi Awashai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? This place is horrible, right? And the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Awashai is going to destroy this place just like it destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. Uh, so let me read this right here. It says, so don't be fearful and fret too much. We knew these things were going to happen. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out, but at the same time, be mindful, prudent, discerning. Was that Ephesians 5? Was it 5 and 15? Right? It says, make the necessary preparations that you can, and be in the fear of the Lord always. Seek Him, pray fast. Okay, so says get sin out of your life, and if you are unsure of your salvation, it's never a bad time to get that sorted out. Yeah, seek the Lord, I may be found. All right. Proverbs 19 and 23, the fear of the Lord, Yahweh Bashmal Shai, attendeth to life. He that hath it shall abide satisfied. He shall not be visited with evil. Proverbs 3 and 21. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom in discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yet thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord Yahweh Bashmal shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Hey, that's Shapar, right? Which means beautiful. So we got some beautiful scriptures here. And I just wanted to go into that. You can check this article out. And again, you can check this little soccer ball out and everything we got. Lord willing, it was edifying lesson. Shalom to the hopeful elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.